Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is session 3 today in our inclusive assessment webinars. So, I'm back for Teachers Share, our top tips for inclusive assessment. And I'm here with 3 presenters from different countries around the world. I'll invite them now to turn on their cameras and say hello. So, while I'm doing that, say hello to us in the chat or the comments. Let us know where you're joining us from. We really love to know. I can see we have teachers joining us from the Philippines, from Thailand, from Bulgaria, from Japan, from the UK. Fantastic. I'm Melissa. I'm in Spain. This is Sarah. She's in Egypt. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Melissa. Good to see you.
You
Thanks for having
too.
me here.
Of course, we're really excited to learn what you've got to say. And we've also got Kamran, who's joining us here in Pakistan. Hi, Kamran.
Hello, Melissa.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you? Nice meeting you once again.
Yeah, it's great. We've met before, we've rehearsed this, and now we're going to go on the big stage and present our ideas. We also hopefully have a third presenter, Nico in Indonesia, but I think he might be having problems. No, he's here. Great.
Hmm.
Hi, Nico.
Hi, Melissa. It's
Hi.
nice to
So
be finally here.
yeah, it is. So your name is Luthfi Nicola, but everyone calls you Nico, is that right?
Yeah, it's easier to pronounce for everyone.
Great.
Yeah,
Well,
that's it.
thanks everyone for joining us today. Let's get
Hmm.
started with Teachers Share. So, our event is on inclusive assessment. So these 3 teachers are joining us to tell us their top tips for inclusive assessment. We're going to start with Kamran in Pakistan. So, Nico and Sarah, we'll say goodbye for now, but please come back in about 15 minutes
We'll
to
see you
share
soon.
your ideas. Bye. See you soon.
Hmm.
So, Kamran, let's start. I'll tell the audience a little bit about you, first of all. So, Kamran's a university lecturer in in a university in Pakistan, and he's also worked with secondary learners. He's had lots of experience with different types of learners, different levels. He's been published in academic journals. Really, he's a great person to have here on our webinar series, and he's going to talk about AI. So I think this is a topic that a lot of teachers will be really excited to learn about. So Cameron, are you ready?
Yeah, I am.
Great. So I'll be here if you need me, but you can start slide sharing now and I'll come back in about 15 minutes. So everyone have a great time with these ideas from Cameron in Pakistan.
Well, thanks, Melissa, and hello to all the teachers from all around the world. I welcome you all to the session on using ChatGPT for self-assessment in writing classes. In this particular session, I intend to discuss why do we need ChatGPT for self-assessment and how did I use ChatGPT in my writing class. And I will also like to share with you an example related to that. Before we begin, I would like you all to tell me in the chat or comments, have you ever used ChatGPT for self-assessment in your writing classes? You can simply say yes or no. Yes. And I can see a lot of people saying yes, a few saying no, but I'm sure after, watching this session, you will be able to use it in a wonderfully easy manner. So let's begin. Well, ChatGPT can help students to assess their work when classes are large. And by large, I mean there are over 40 to 50 students in a class. It becomes challenging for a teacher to give each and every student feedback. Resultantly, students get minimal feedback and their writing skills do not improve significantly. Another challenge in some contexts is multicultural and multilingual classrooms. Due to some cultural constraints, teachers are unable to form heterogeneous groups. And because of varied levels of proficiency of students, students are reluctant to rely on peer feedback and they want real teacher feedback, which again increases the burden on teachers in such large classrooms, as happened in my class. While ChatGPT can help us deal with these challenges, it can also help us to foster an environment of self-directed learning. We all as teachers want our students to be autonomous and independent when it comes to certain tasks. So if you can relate with any of these challenges or the desire, this session is for you. And the light comes on in form of ChatGPT. ChatGPT can help because it's free and because it's accessible. But remember, before using any such AI tool, it's important that the school administrators, the parents and students are well aware that they are using and you are using ChatGPT in the classrooms. Moreover, ChatGPT also requires that children aged 13 to 18 obtain parental consent before using this. So it's very important that we make students aware that they are not supposed to share any personal information with ChatGPT. Moving on, how did I use this activity in my class? Now, this was a simple task that my students who are university students at B2 level were supposed to do. The task was to write a paragraph on any of the following topics with word limits set as 120 to 150 words, and rubrics set simply as 8 marks for organization and 2 marks for language. So keeping this the nature of this task, I came to the planning stage. Now, when it comes to planning stage, it's very important that you plan the things beforehand. And in the planning stage, the first thing is the table with a specific focus of assessment. As I was working on paragraph writing with my students, my focus was paragraph organization. Therefore, you can see on the screen that I made the assessment focus very clear. I asked ChatGPT to look for a topic sentence which should reflect topic and opinion of the writer, and followed by a transitional word which should introduce the major idea one, then the major idea one itself, followed by minor supporting details, and the list goes on. I added another column asking ChatGPT to say yes or no whether a component has been included or not. Now uh, this yes or no will tell the students whether they have included a component in the paragraph or not. It also helps us as teachers to get a quick glimpse of what are the areas in which a particular student is struggling. So the third part is the comments for improvement. And in this part, ChatGPT is supposed to give comments if something is good, something is fine, that's perfect. But if something is missing, ChatGPT is supposed to suggest things which the student should do in order to improve his or her work. Now, once the table is ready, the next thing is to write a detailed prompt. Now, I'm sure you all can see a prompt on your screen. But before I share with you a detailed prompt, I would like you all to guess the 4 missing words in this prompt and type them in the chat or comments. Okay, you can number them. Simply write 1, 2, 3, and 4. What do you think can be in 1, 2, 3, and 4? Okay, interesting answers coming up. Good. Okay, I can see a number of interesting responses coming from the participants. Yeah, experienced, innovative, feedback. What do you think about 4, 3, feedback? Okay, good. Now, moving on. Yes, great answers. Okay, let's move on then. So this is the detailed prompt, as you can see. You are an experienced English teacher. Your task is to assess my paragraph in accordance with the given organizational structure. Your feedback should help me with improving the flow of my ideas. Give me feedback on language, sentence structure, capitalization, and punctuation if necessary. Do you understand? Now, this detailed prompt is developed on the basis or following the model CTIC. So what is CTIC? CTIC says that first of all, the context should be set. So you are an experienced English teacher. In one sentence, the context is set. In the next sentence, I made the task clear for ChatGPT. Your task is to assess my paragraph in accordance with the given organizational structure. You remember the table that we created in the previous stage, in the previous step. So instruction. Now it is up to you to decide, given the context and the nature of the task you are working on, how many instructions you want to give to ChatGPT. In my case, for example, I kept the instructions simple because I wanted ChatGPT to help students with improving the flow of their ideas and some feedback on language. But once again, if you can see that I made it very clear that the feedback should be related to sentence structure, capitalization, and punctuation. The last thing is, the last C refers to clarification. It's important that you ask, do you write this sentence to know that ChatGPT understands what you are trying to say and what you are asking ChatGPT to do. Okay, now once these tools, the table and the detailed prompt, these tools are ready, it's important that you pilot these tools before taking them to the class. Okay, now once these tools are ready and you have piloted them, it's time to use them in the class. Now, I would suggest to share the table with students in PDF form and the prompt in text form with students, because in that way it will be easy for them to attach the PDF and copy and paste the prompt in the chat. Now, one thing that you should be careful about is that students paste the prompt and attach the table in ChatGPT in the first attempt. They should not paste their paragraphs. Once ChatGPT says that it's ready, only then students should paste their paragraphs for assessment. And once they paste it and click it, and bingo, a detailed report comes out to help. And following up on the report generated by ChatGPT, students may use the report to revise and edit their drafts on their own after discussing with the report with a peer, or after discussing the report with the teacher, depending on the nature of the task and the participant's proficiency level. And we come to the last thing of the day. ChatGPT is in my session, for example. So ChatGPT, in this particular example, I'm going to share with you two responses generated by ChatGPT. One response is related to a general prompt, and the other response is to the detailed prompt and specific requirements that we develop. So the table and the detailed prompt. So let's see the appendix, and I'm going to share it in a matter of a second. I'm sure you all can see this PDF on the screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so for example, this is a paragraph, and when I gave this paragraph to ChatGPT, it gave me a detailed response, but the prompt was very simple. The prompt was, assess my paragraph and give me feedback on organization and language. And you can see the detailed responses there on organization as well as language. But I personally think the problem with this feedback was that it was too wordy. And the students could easily get lost in the wordiness of the document. So I developed the table, which I've already shared with you on the slides, and developed the prompt. So when I gave ChatGPT this refined prompt following the CTIC model that I've already shared with you, and attach the table, the ChatGPT's response is right on target. And as you can see in this, for the sample paragraph that I used, topic sentence, uh, topic and opinion, and clear, ChatGPT says that yes, it has a clear and concise topic sentence. For transitional word, transitional phrase, for major idea 1, it says no. And you can see that in the comments for improvement, it suggests that the writer or the student can use these phrases and words to introduce major idea 1. And when it comes to major idea 1, it says yes. Once again, minor details, yes. Although some suggestions whether students go for it or not, again up to the students and the teachers to decide. For transitional word or phrase, no. So this can give us a quick glimpse that this particular student is struggling with using transitional words or transitional phrases in the paragraph. So it is not just for helpful for students, it can also help us teachers to get a quick glimpse of the writer's performance, the student's performance. Now, I'm sure it has been useful, and those who said no, they haven't used ChatGPT, they might use it, but let's see. So you all are going to tell me in the chat or comments how likely are you to use ChatGPT for self-assessment in your writing classes now. You can rate it on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being highly likely and 5 being less likely. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1. Great, 1. A number of 2s, lots of 2s and 1. 1, 1, 1. Some of you still say 3. Let's see. 1, 1, 1. And yeah, so I'm sure it was somehow useful, and it will be useful when you apply these strategies in your classes, whatever the context might be. Again, that's something to be seen. So thank you for listening and thank you for watching. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And over to Melissa now.
Oh, thanks very much, Cameron. I think I was a 3 before, but I've definitely moved up to a 2, or I don't know, maybe a 1, I think. Um, I love how the table is so detailed and full of actual words and phrases that the students can use. Yeah, that's great. It's really useful. Really, really useful to
Thank
see
you.
the example. Yeah, thanks very
Thank you.
much. I know that Cameron has finished for now, but he's going to come back later. He's going to answer any questions you have. Let's invite Sarah to come on screen now. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Melissa. How's everything?
I'm really good. I'm learning lots, and I'm also looking forward to learning some more from you. Um, I will tell the audience a bit about you before we start. Sarah is a teacher from Egypt. She has had over 8 years' experience now. Um, she's worked with secondary students. She's got experience in general English, and now she specialises in English for specific purposes. And Sarah's going to talk to us about understanding learner profiles and learner needs. She's the second teacher here in today's session. Teachers share our top tips for inclusive assessment. So, welcome, Sarah. Are you ready to start?
I'm very ready whenever you are.
Great. Well, let's pass over. You can start screen sharing, and then I'll come back at the end. Hi, everyone. Have a great time. Lots to learn here. See you soon.
Right? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yes, looks perfect.
Right. So welcome everyone to the Learner Compass. I'm Sarah from Egypt, and today we'll explore how we as teachers can guide students through their unique learning journeys My purpose today is to share some practical strategies I personally use as an English teacher that will help you better understand the learner diversity, respond with flexibility, and support every student's growth. So let's think of this in that way. Every student's learning journey is like a map, but if we do not have a compass, we risk leading them in circles. And let me ask you, before we start, let me ask you a question. So imagine this: 40 students take the same test, but only half of them truly get to show what they know. The others aren't held back by knowledge, but by the way the task is presented. So here's the question for you. So in your last class assessment, how many of your students do you think could have done better if the task had been presented differently? So I need you to type your thoughts in the chat or in the comments if you're joining us on Facebook. I'll be reading some of your comments. Almost all. Yeah, most of them, some. 90% all. Wow, nearly all. Okay, so 75%, most of them. Right. So here is our agenda for the next 10 minutes. We'll begin with why the learner compass matters. On the screen, you'll see an image of a compass surrounded by students, just to make the idea of a compass clear, since it's not a word that we use every day. From there, we'll explore the 3 pillars of the framework and then finish with some practical classroom strategies you can actually take tomorrow and use it with your learners. Right. So our classrooms today are vibrant and diverse, filled with different readiness levels, learning styles, and cultural backgrounds. But a traditional one-size-fits-all approach often leaves many students behind, as you answered the question that most of your students actually are held back, not by knowledge, but the way we actually test them. What we need are responsive learner-centered approaches, and that's exactly where the learner compass comes in. It's more of a guide to help us navigate this diversity with clarity and confidence. Right, so the learner compass is a framework built on 3 guiding pillars. The first one, profiles, who your learners are, and then needs, how we as teachers respond in real time to their evolving needs. And lastly, mindset, how we help them grow with resilience and confidence. It's not actually a new curriculum, but a way of thinking that supports every teaching decisions. And in the next few minutes, I'll be sharing some quick practical tricks for each pillar, simple ideas you can take straight into your next class. So starting with pillar 1, understanding learner profiles. Right. A learner profile is more than just grades. It's a picture of students' skills, interests, culture, and identity. When we acknowledge who our students are, they feel seen and learning becomes personal, and that's very important. Now, you might be wondering, how do we actually create these profiles? The good news is, I told you before that I'm actually a teacher just like you. It doesn't require long diagnostic tests. Instead, I'll show you 3 simple, effective tricks you can start using right away in understanding your learners' profiles. Right. Trick number 1, it's called 1-minute survey, or you can, if you do not like it like that, you can call it all about me sheet. So to learn more about your students' interests, strengths, and goals, you just need to ask them only 3 questions. What helps you learn? What challenges you? And what excites you? And for primary school teachers or teachers who teach young learners, you can scaffold by giving options with pictures or sentence starters to make it easier for the students to respond to your questions. And that's the first trick that I use. It's real quick. It's from the name, it's 1-minute survey. Right. The second one, it is actually linked to the previous one. So once you have gathered learners' answers from the quick surveys, take it a step further. So you as teacher create a learning snapshot wall like the one in the image. the slide. And then the students post one sentence about how they learn best. This turns individual responses from the previous trick into a shared class resource. It builds self-awareness, helps you see patterns at a glance, and then lets students discover how their peers learn too. You as a teacher would be surprised by what students will write. I remember that one student who wrote, "I learned best when the teacher brings snacks," and that was actually in my class, and that was very funny. And the other students said, I learned best in group work, but only if I'm with my best friend." So you'd be surprised by the answers of your students. It is actually also quick, and it would take less than 3 minutes. Right. Let me stop sharing here. So this is thumbs up, middle, and down for confidence. Let me stop sharing a bit. Can you see me? I think, yeah. So thumbs up, middle, or down, that helps you as a teacher in understanding who is actually suffering in the class. Like if you're giving instructions to your students, and then especially in large classrooms, and you need to know who's lost and who's actually following. So you ask them in 30 seconds, how confident are you? So thumbs up if you're confident. If you're 50-50 or you're not sure that you're confident, then you do that middle. And then if you're actually confused, then down. And that gives you an image for the whole class at a glance. In less than 30 seconds, you can tell who is actually struggling every time, who needs guidance, and who works well every time, and so on. Let me share my screen back again. So can you see my screen? Yes, good. Right. Moving to pillar 2, but before we discuss pillar 2, let me ask you a question. If students could choose how to show they are learning tomorrow, would you let them? I need you to answer with yes, no, or maybe. Yes. Good. Majority of teachers, you say yes? Yes. Oh, democratic classrooms everywhere. Oh, here is Karen, sometimes. Probably. Definitely. Yes, yes. Very good, very good. Then if you're answered yes or maybe, probably, that's exactly what responding to learner needs is all about. It's about giving our students different ways to access the same learning and to show what they know. Sometimes that means adjusting the content. For example, some topics, same topic, but at easier or more advanced reading levels. Other times, it's about the process. Some students might prefer a video, others a text, others hands-on experience or tasks, or they like crafts or doing something, drawing diagrams and so on. And finally, the product, how they show their learning. One might write an essay, another might design a poster, another could record a short podcast, same goal in different paths. That's what differentiation looks like in practice. It opens the door for every student that can succeed at their own readiness level. And here is the trick. Now, let me stop share again. It's called feedback loops, FIST to 5. So let me stop sharing again. So FIST is like this. So you ask students if you're asking them a question or you're about to give them a controlled practice or something. So you ask them to give you FIST to 5. So FIST, I'm totally lost. So if the students do this, he's totally lost. Giving one finger or two fingers, which means I'm struggling. 3 means I'm okay, but I need more practice, or I need to ask a question. 4, I understand well. And 5, I can teach it to someone else. That would help you as a teacher to group your students and know who's struggling and who's not. Who's actually you can use as a student to be a group leader, or to pair the weak students with the good students that actually understands well. Right? Let me reshare my screen again. So fifth means confused, and 5, which means confident, and I can teach it to someone else. So trick 2 here, it's the choice boards, and as you can see in the image, you may try using choice boards after a reading task. So you let students show their understanding in different ways, like drawing a picture, writing a summary, record a voice note, maybe a video, or prepare a presentation. So it's all about same goal, but multiple ways to show their learning, as you all agreed when I asked you the question. Finally, pillar 3, which is fostering growth mindset. So finally, the third pillar, and this is about more than motivation. It's about creating a classroom culture where mistakes are not failures, but stepping stones. So one way to do this is to model it yourself. This is number 1. So when something does not work, you say it as a teacher out loud, I need to try again. So learners notice that it tells them that it is safe to get things wrong and try to fix it. Another strategy is to use learning journals, a few minutes at the end of the class for students to reflect. What did I try today? What worked? What didn't? That actually helps them see their own progress over time. Also, your language as a teacher matters. Instead of saying that is wrong, try not yet. It's a small shift in the language, but it actually changed how students feel, moving from shutting down to learning forward. We can also celebrate progress, not perfection. And that's very important, especially in writing tasks. For example, I always in my classes, I have this corner, I call it work in progress wall. I stick there the students' work of drafts or nearly finished drafts. When other learners, especially shy learners, when they see that everyone's learning is a journey, they start valuing effort as much as results. And finally, give them a chance to set their own goals. Even a small goal, like I'll use 3 new vocabulary today, gives them ownership, that they begin to see growth as something they can actually control. When we do this as teacher, we do not just teach content, we teach students how to keep going even when learning is tough, or when they are not actually scoring well. So in the chat, tell me what is one strategy that we discussed you will try next week. So you can use like choice boards, not yet, the language, the 1-minute surveys, all of them. Wow. So teachers are actually excited about the ideas and would take them all. Oh, I can see thumbs up, thumbs, I'll try all, fist to 5. Wow. Cool. Choice boards, very good. Right. So small steps often make the biggest difference. So if you leave today with just one new trick to try, you are already moving forward and to a more learner-centered classroom. So to bring it all together, the learner compass isn't about doing more. It's about teaching smarter and know your learners, respond to them and help them grow. And in the end, inclusive assessment doesn't have to be overwhelming to teachers or for the students. It just needs to be small, continuous, and fair. Thank you all for listening, and you can find me on LinkedIn. And thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Sarah. I'm absolutely, definitely a thumbs up and a 5. I enjoyed that a lot. Uh,
Thanks.
great. So come back in about 10 minutes, about 15
Yeah,
minutes, and I'm sure some people have got some questions for you. Let's say thanks to Sarah, but then
they
let's welcome
already
our,
do.
yeah, they have. There's lots of thanks coming in.
Yeah. See
Let's
you in 10
welcome our,
minutes.
see you in 10 minutes, and I'm going to welcome our third guest. It's Nico in Indonesia. Hi, Nico, how are you?
Well, I'm doing well, and I cannot wait to start.
Yeah, we're learning loads. I'll tell the audience a bit about you, and then we'll start. So,
Sure.
this is Luthfi Nicola Sereni, Nico for short, and he's a very experienced English language teacher and trainer in Indonesia, and he also works in curriculum design now. Indonesia is an enormous country, and I know that we have lots of teachers watching from Indonesia. Where exactly are you in Indonesia?
Actually, at the moment, I am in the capital city,
Okay,
Jakarta.
okay, great. So if anyone is watching from Jakarta, say hello in the chat or the comments. Okay, Nico, are you ready? You can share your screen and I'll be here if you need me. But if not, everyone, enjoy your time with our third presenter on Teachers Share, our top tips for inclusive assessment. Over to you.
Okay, I think everyone can see the screen, right?
Yes, looks good.
All right, cool. Anyway, I would like to say thank you so much everyone for coming. I am Luthfi Nicola Sereni, but please call me Nico. That is easier to pronounce. Yeah, that's it. And anyway, I am honored and grateful to be invited as a speaker here. And I would like to talk about unlocking fluency through creative language learning. Let's get started. Okay. So these are the 4 things that we are going to talk about tonight. Very simple, but I do hope it will be very helpful to all of you. Yeah, that we are going to discuss about the definition, the how, and basically, of course, the main topic. Yeah, which is how to use it as assessment, and discussing about the drawbacks as well. Yeah. So I do have one simple question. Probably this is not a popular term because probably there is a high chance I made this up. What do you think? What is creative language learning? Put them in the chat box, yeah. Improving vocabulary. Well, that is actually correct. That is one of the purpose actually. Yeah. Why? Because, well, why we need creativity? Because the 2 reasons. I would like to talk about the second reason that are listed here. We do experience this, I think almost every year, every semester. When students come to our class, they do well, but unfortunately, they forget again. That is and another way, another thing, yeah, at least in my country, yeah, students and even some teachers, they get, how do I call this? They don't get enough exposure to the English language. I mean, they don't spend their free time watching, reading, listening to something in English. That's why, yeah, that's why we need creativity here in our language class. Let me give you another challenge, guys. Okay, ask around you, anyone, your grandmother, your mother, your father, or even that security guard over there, if you are in front of your office, or anyone that is passing by, ask them to translate, to say, I love you from your mother tongue to English. I bet 100% if they are connected to the modern world, like if they have gadget, yeah, I believe they can do it. The question is, why? Why? Why everyone can say I love you in English? Why? Exposure. That's it. Yeah. It's easy, of course. Yeah. It's easy. What common? But why? I love you is quite common. Why do people have so much exposure to that simple words? Yes, because it's very common to be used in songs, in movies, in TV shows. That is why I want to introduce this. Yeah. To make language learning. Wait. Okay. Actually, I want to make language learning, especially English class, to be using this principle from Stephen Krashen. Yeah, comprehensible input, basically to make sure learners learn the language not only by studying the language but by acquiring them. They can learn grammar, yes, they can learn vocabulary, complex things, but they also need to acquire the language. Nah, so basically, yeah, in my experience, creative language learning is just an acting class in disguise. That's it. I don't want to make this thing complicated. It's just an acting class in disguise, language class, and it's an acting class in disguise. That's it. We act in English class, yeah. Especially if you do role plays a lot, they are acting. Okay. So basically, how we do this? It's quite simple, really, yeah. But sometimes because we have a lot of challenges in our day teaching, well, sometimes we forget about it. And I do believe, in my experience as an English teacher and learner, yeah, most people who are at least in C1 level, yeah, in English proficiency or even in other language, they have one thing in common, one thing. They spend their free time watching or reading something in the target language that they want to learn. Yeah, ask your friend who is good in Japanese. I believe 100% they spend something. Yeah, no, no, sorry, it's not something. I mean, their free time watching anime. I bet 100%. Yeah, okay, all right. Nah, okay, the concept is very simple, everyone. The concept is very simple. So basically, in language class, we have to make sure the students like the language itself. Right now, children love, how do I call this? They have different content to like. Back then, when I was in school, it's different thing. Right now, it's different. Right now, it's all about Roblox. Yeah, we can also use this trend actually, everyone. Why don't we ask them to watch or read something from Roblox or content on Roblox? That's it, right? That's it, that's it. And then if they find some new vocabulary, phrases, ask them to rehearse, ask them to rewrite it, ask them to understand the meaning. After they rehearse and understand the meaning, you can do two simple things actually. If those things are from something they watch or read, they can just role play it. If it comes from a song, well, they need to sing it. Simple. Nah, it also helps bringing creativity like that, yeah, by watching or reading something like that in a class. Well, it also helps your student to be more aware with the structure of the language. Yeah. Okay. Let me show you something. I have a little bit of challenge for all of you, just like before. Yeah. Okay. Ah, this is actually a sentence from popular TV show, a cartoon, SpongeBob, that helped me realize that English language has a different structure from my language. If I did not watch that show in English, yeah, I would have never known. My hand is burned is actually more natural in English rather than I burn my hand. In my language, we say I burn my hand. But my hand is burned is more natural. I remember this from that scene when SpongeBob decided to go for working in a night shift. Yeah, when he said, I burn my hand at night. And then he annoyed Squidward by saying night, 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 night. Nah, it was so memorable for children. Children love something like this. They will remember it. It's easier to remember something when you love something or when you hate something. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So, yeah, this is the challenge that I was talking about. Is there any favorite TV lines, movie shows, or content your students keep repeating? Of course, right now we got some new unique words from social media like I'm not going to say it here. I don't really remember all of them. They are very, very, very complex right now. But children, oh, Peppa Pig. Oh, ah, you're a wizard, Harry. Hmm. Yeah, they have different stuff they like, but they always have something they like. What we need is to channel what they like into something appropriate, at least. Make sure it's not something inappropriate, and make it into English. That's it. Yeah, that is why you should design your homework or assignment into something like that, into something that they like. Yeah. Mm-mm. Okay. So basically, how do we, that was about the one that I was talking about was just the activities in the class that we can do, right? Yeah. Now, how about we use it for inclusive assessment? After all, this kind of activity is not very good for informal assessment, yeah. Sorry, not very good for formal assessment. Yeah. Now, the thing is, if you decide to bring creativity from your students' favorite lines, from movies, TV shows, or contents, yeah, it is good, very good for actually vocabulary. Why? Because they will retain the vocabulary longer. Yeah, they will retain the vocabulary longer. That's it. That is the main purpose, and also the pronunciation. Children love to imitate. Yeah, children love to imitate. So as long as they get the pronunciation from someone that speaks it correctly, I think this is a very good idea. That's why, yeah, I still remember how SpongeBob says, "I burn my hand." Yeah, that's it. And of course, there will be some fluency and confidence as well because they are being asked to use lines from that favorite shows into um, classroom activities. It will improve their confidence. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what I have been doing when I was still a learner and my teacher was so confused why why I spoke English in a different accent. Well, because I was imitating back then. Yeah, so it's very good for informal assessment. If you want to make some kind of descriptor role play based on favorite TV shows, movies, or something like that, just focus on two simple things or three simple things. Yeah, pronunciation and vocabulary, it's enough. Yeah, I think it's enough. But if you want to assess the other things like accuracy or something like that, it's up to you. But in my experience, this is just for pronunciation and vocabulary. Yeah, that's it. Okay. And there are some drawbacks, of course. Yeah, there will be drawbacks all the time. Yeah, making children to change what they like to watch into something in English is not an easy thing to do. It's not going to happen in just a week. So we have to be consistent about it. And for assessment itself, just like I said, yeah, I think it's not going to be good for formal assessment. I mean, if you use this kind of concept when your students are about to take some kind of formal speaking exam, I'm not really going to recommend it. Why? Because quoting lines usually from TV shows or contents, they are usually not using good sentences that can get your students higher speaking bands or something. Yeah. And if you want to assess accuracy, I do recommend that you don't use this because it's contradicting the purpose that I was talking before. It's supposed to be fun, so students can be confident, they retain vocabulary longer, and they spend their free time consuming something and using, repeating, understanding words in English. Yeah, grammar flexibility also not the thing that you have to focus on here because we never know what kind of shows, movies, TV shows that the student watch. Sometimes what I notice, native speakers also make a lot of grammatical mistakes from movies and TV shows. So yeah, not really recommended. Yeah, and need a lot of confidence. At first, I believe your students will be very awkward to repeat what they said. Yeah, what they watch from movies or TV shows into the class. They will be very awkward. They will be very shy. But in the end, if you keep consisting, if you keep pushing your students to try it, try to have fun with the language, it will build the confidence. It's just hard to do it at the beginning. Yeah, that's it. Okay. All right. So, um, I would like to ask these two questions. Would you be more interested, sorry, implementing more creativity in your language class? I know everyone have different opinion, but remember, everyone can say I love you. So I think we need to make sure our students remember more than I love you, right? Nah. And what would be the biggest challenge besides the one that I was talking about? Yeah, probably you have your own experience trying to, let's say, push your students learning English by understanding their hobbies. Yeah, like me a couple of days ago, trying to understand what Minecraft was. To be honest, I could not understand a thing about that video game. I did not understand what was it about, but at least I tried to understand the things, and The reason was to make sure the student that I was teaching keep at least playing the game, but also absorb English, from the game. That's it. Yeah. Let's see some of the answer here. Oh, yeah, assessment difficulties, group this. Okay, of course, assessment is going to be very difficult because we know most of teachers here, they teach in groups in a big class usually. Yeah. Nah, in this situation, there is no other way, especially if you teach in a big class, but to simply divide your student into groups. I do usually, let's say, if it's on homework, I always ask them to record themselves and send it to me. When it's recording with AI nowadays, it's easier to assess their performance. Yeah, I would like to say thank you to Kamran for telling us about assessment. I think it's also going to be useful to assess speaking. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's see if there is any questions here. Complaints, time constraints. Yeah, time constraints is always the problem here. That is why I actually love to bring this up because, in my school, I only learn English for, let's say, 40 minutes. 40 minutes a week. Could you imagine that? 40 minutes. 40 minutes, and the teacher was teaching like 40 students. That is why I want to make the students, yeah. This is not like other subjects, guys. Students can still have fun in their free time while learning English. Of course, they need to learn something serious like grammar and complicated grammar things, but as long as they get exposed, learning grammar would be piece of cake. Yeah. Okay, let's
Great.
see.
Thanks
Remote
very
schools?
much. Thanks very much,
Oh,
Nico. I think we're going to go on to questions very soon.
all right
Um,
then.
so I just want to remind everyone to ask us questions. We'd love to hear your questions. Write them in the chat or the comments, and soon we'll invite all the other presenters back to answer them.
Mm. Okay, we got
Great.
someone here asking about how can this be done in remote schools. Remote school is indeed quite challenging, yeah. Why? Because children requires interaction, physical interaction with their peers. And if they don't, usually they don't pay attention enough to us. This is going to be very challenging, of course. To do this, like it or not, yeah, you must try to talk something that the students, some of the students at least, like. Yeah, try to refer the nowadays things. Yeah, they will start to pay attention to you, and you can actually use. Let's say if you are using Zoom, you can use breakout room for that. So you can make the students do role play, and you can attend each breakout room how do I call properly? Yeah, after a couple of minutes, you can check if the student practicing in a breakout room, give them some feedback, and then you move on to a different breakout room, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
Mhm.
idea. Cameron, sorry, Nico, I'll ask you to stop sharing your screen now so that we
Oh,
can invite Sarah and Cameron back into
okay.
the
Mhm.
conversation, and we'll take some questions because I know that they've already seen some questions that have come in and they're eager to answer. Thanks so much, Nico. That was great. It's very clear that there's lots of informal assessment that we can do that's really fun and that kind of includes even kids that we think don't like the class very much. So yeah, it was great. Welcome back, Sarah. Welcome back, Cameron.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's go to some questions. We started with a presentation about AI in writing assessment, and some questions came in that I really want to answer. Um, I'm really interested in this one particular question, Cameron. And it's about student handwriting. Okay. I don't know the answer to this question. Let's see if you do. So a teacher asks, does ChatGPT recognize student handwriting if we scan their work and put that in? Or do students have to type out their work to do your activity? The teacher is I think a primary school teacher. Um, I've never thought about that answer to that question. Do you
It,
know?
yeah, most important thing is obviously they should have typed work that makes the things easy.
Right,
But
yeah.
sometimes ChatGPT can work as an OCR, that optical recognition sort of thing. It recognizes words,
Ah,
letters,
hmm.
and reproduces the text. But again, it depends on the quality of handwriting, because if the writing is
Okay.
cursive, and so it becomes challenging. It produces words, but they are not so meaningful, or the way it is
Yeah.
handwritten.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine that. And I can imagine if it's a primary school teacher and she's got the students' pieces of work, some of them might not be readable. So yeah, that's something to experiment with. And of course, like Cameron said, don't ask students that young to be using the AI. That should be something that the teacher would be using, because of course you need parental consent for students that young.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for your answer. It's an interesting thing to start thinking about. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, I also saw a question for Sarah. Let me find it. Um, and it was about doing this with uh, large classrooms, things like the learning wall. Um, do you think it's something you can do in a very large class, Sarah? Because I know some teachers have 40 students, 45, maybe more. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
my tips basically focus on large classrooms because I do work
Mm.
with university students. So sometimes I do have more than 60 students, or if it's a lecture,
Yeah,
then I do have 150 students or something in a
yeah.
lecture hall. So I need to know a bit about them. Are they following? Are they
Hmm.
not? So I always use the thumbs up, middle, and down, or the
Yeah.
fist to five, so I can respond to the learner's needs as fast as possible. And
Hmm.
it takes no time, and it's actually useful for me.
Yes, really, really, really simple that I'll take it away. I was thinking of it for younger students, but you use it with older students as well. That's great to know.
Yeah. It works with
Yeah.
both, but for younger students, they feel like they are playing. It's a game,
Yeah.
so they would
Yeah.
be always engaged and motivated.
Uh-huh. No, I can see that. That's great. Um, let's go on to a question that came in for Nico. Um, and yeah, I love that you're helping the students who maybe don't seem like they like English, and you're you've got activities that are about their favorite movies, their favorite songs. But this teacher asks, how do you find out what your students like? How do you know the cool movies that your students like? Any tips for getting that information?
Ah, if you are teaching at schools, probably you need to take some time to see what your students are doing during lunchtime. That's
Oh,
it.
yeah,
As simple as that. Basically,
yeah.
that's what I was doing when we were eating lunch. After I finished eating lunch, I
Uh-huh.
decided to see the students. Oh, they were playing Roblox all the time, talking about the skibidi things. Yeah, which was something so difficult to understand, but try to find out. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
This going
Oh,
to
that's
change in the
great.
next 10 years, but the concept's still
Yeah,
the same. Yeah.
yeah. It's a great simple tip.
Mm.
Yeah, I have to admit that I don't know what all these sayings are because I'm not working with young students anymore. But yeah, got to go and ask them, listen to them, find out. Yeah, sounds like a good tip. Um, let's move on to another question that's come in from uh Cameron, and it has. Yeah, I'll read it. I'll read it out. Um, it's coming from an anonymous teacher on here on Zoom, and it says, Cameron, do you believe that using Chat GPT makes people less creative? Can you tell us about your experience in the classroom?
Well, if you ask me personally, I think to some extent it does, because I have worked with technical writing with students, university students in technical writing course, and even creative writing. They tend to rely on this tool for not just brainstorming, but for the write-ups, which is
Hmm.
again a point of intervention where we need to tell them to
Yeah.
what extent they can use and they can't use or they shouldn't use.
Yeah.
So in context where the use of ChatGPT is unchecked, I personally think yes, it does hamper and it does influence creativity.
Yeah. So make it very clear from the start what they can and can't do. And for you, you're talking about assessment, but they do their own writing first, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay.
So
Okay.
instead of using ChatGPT as a apologies for using the term as a slave for doing all the
Hmm.
work, use it as
Mm.
an aid, which
Mhm.
can help you to refine your work.
Mhm. That's great, great advice. Um, Cameron, Sarah, Nico, we've run out of time. I'm so sorry. We don't have time for more questions, but our moderators, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, we'll definitely be reading all of your questions and answering the ones that we can. So thank you. Thank you for coming today to share your tips for inclusive assessment. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you have too. I want to say a thank you to Cameron, to Sarah, and to Nico, also
Welcome.
to our moderator Joe and our moderator on social media, which is Marcus. So thanks everyone.
Thanks to you as well, Melissa.
Thank you,
And
and hopefully to see you all again.
Yeah, it
yes,
was an honor,
definitely.
everyone. Mm-mm.
I just want to remind everyone before we go that we have an event next month, but it's not a webinar event. It is World Teachers Day. So we have a 3-day conference on Thursday the 9th, Friday the 10th, and Saturday the 11th of October. You'll find details in the comments and the chat on how to sign up. So definitely save those dates. We'll be back with lots of teachers, 12 teachers from all over the world to get even more ideas for the teaching month ahead. So I'll say goodbye for tonight. Thank you for all your participation. We've really enjoyed having you all here, presenters and participants alike. And yeah, let's meet again soon for World Teachers Day. Thanks, everyone.